Clair, cousin to Lance, last hurdle before the Johto Elite Four, and underrated mommy in the Pokemon franchise. Today we're going to be starting with Horsey because Clair really only has two Pokemon, and those are Dragonair and Kingdra. While there is a variety of Kingdra to choose from, I am going with one that we actually have already built a deck around. As you can see, we're going with the E-card line of Horsey, Seadra, and we're going to follow that up with Kingdra as well. Horsey and Seadra both are solid starting options, as you evolve up, you get the HP bump, you're still able to attack up until you do get into Kingdra. So ideally, you're actually going to be evolving up into Kingdra on turn 4. That's when Rapids is going to be fully set up. Usually you want to set this up on the bench. This isn't the archetype from E-card that includes Espeon, so it's not going to be the Turbo Kingdra with Rapids. You're going to have to set up these 4 energy yourself. So it's going to be a huge risk just to get that Rapids attack off, but you'll soon see what the point of the deck is. Now, the follow-up here is going to be the base set Magikarp that was reprinted in the Legendary Collection. So you probably already know where we're going here. We're going to be evolving up into Gyarados, but the Gyarados in question is the E-card Gyarados, the one from Skyridge. Kingdra's Rapids has a chance of discarding an energy from your opponent's active. If Magikarp is in the active position when you evolve it into this Gyarados, you have an even higher chance of discarding energy off of your opponent's active. Plus, played in the right way, Dragon's Vengeance can be a hefty attack to have to deal with as early as turn 2, technically. And then you see Legendary Collection Dratini hitting the playmat here. Now, I wish that the OG Dragonair was legal in Neon, the one that had Hyper Beam, gives you another chance to discard energy. Unfortunately, it was not printed in Legendary Collection. Instead, we had Dark Dragonair printed. That's going to be the Dragonair we're going with here. Evolutionary Light is going to help your evolution lines here, because it's pretty obvious so far. It's going to be really important to get those Seadras, Kingdras, and those Gyarados as early as possible. Once Evolutionary Light is used a couple of times, Dark Dragonair serves as a decent swap-in for if you just need to buy yourself a turn to attach another energy or find the special energy that you're looking for. You can just switch it into the active position after you've already used it for its evolutionary capabilities and just take it as a KO. Especially considering that you don't want a Magikarp in the active position unless you are certain that it is going to live long enough for you to evolve it. So usually you don't want to swap that Magikarp up into the active until it's already on your turn before you attack, giving you the opportunity for that hard Gyarados drop. Your draw and search is going to be coming from 4 copies of Pokemon Fan Club, obviously. Couple copies of Professor Elm just for the hand refreshers, especially after you've already played your basics. You could drop that Professor Elm, get a brand new hand with hopefully some more trainer cards that you can use on your next turn, or even just the evolution cards that you're going to need on your next turn. A couple copies of Copycat to take advantage of your opponent's card advantage, because you're looking at almost exclusively very high energy costed attacks. Goldberry and Potion are going to be very important just for keeping your Gyarados and your Kingdra alive long enough to get at least one big attack off, and hopefully snowball from there with discarding energy off of your opponent's active, putting them in a state of disruption. In this theme deck format, you're not going to be seeing high HP Pokemon like Gyarados or Kingdra very often, so it does work out a little bit. You're going to be accumulating chip damage onto these Pokemon, but Goldberry and Potion should help get you to a point where you can actually attack at least once, hopefully more than that. I keep saying hopefully just because it's always very wishy-washy when it comes to dealing with these Stage 1 and Stage 2 Pokemon with such high cost attacks. Energy removal 2 just to aid in that disruption and keep energy off of the important Pokemon that your opponent has in play. A couple copies of Switch just because these Pokemon do have a bit high retreat cost. 4 copies of Boost Energy, which is how you're going to get off some surprise attacks with Gyarados. You only have 1 Water Energy on a Magikarp. You suddenly evolve it up into Gyarados, attach a Boost Energy, and now you are dealing a lot of damage. I know the Goldberry and the Potion does seem counterintuitive for Gyarados, since you do want, a good chunk of damage counters on there so you can deal 100 damage for 4 energy instead of 50. But in this theme deck format, just dealing 50 on your second turn or just out of nowhere when it's not expected can really disrupt your opponent's board state. If you're really in a desperate spot, then Boost Energy can also work with Dark Dragonair to get some decent damage off before it's inevitably KO'd, since it does have relatively low HP, especially for stage 1. Ideally, you want to go first, just attach a Water Energy onto Horsey in the active position. Turn 2, evolve into Seadra, start attacking for that 1 Water Energy, but also get another one on there as you're going to be moving up into Kingdra. The faster you get Dark Dragonair into play, the easier your deck's going to go, as you're going to be able to pull those evolution cards, thin your deck out, which is going to set you up for better draws off of a Professor Elm or a Copycat. Kingdra's ability to move a Water Energy from the active onto the bench is going to be helpful, especially for those scenarios where you do want to hit your opponent with a surprise Dragon's Vengeance, which oftentimes is going to be your game ender. You may have noticed the lack of Double Gust in this deck, which is something that it could benefit from greatly. It could serve as an option to stall your opponent while you're building up energy on a specific Pokemon. It could drag out Pokemon that are easy KOs when you do have the energy for your 4 energy attacks off of a Kingdra or a Gyarados. It also combos very well with Kingdra's Water Cyclone power. That way you can move a Water Energy from the active to the bench, then play a Double Gust and move that benched Pokemon that just got the energy into the active position. In retrospect, I maybe could have cut a couple of Water Energy in order to fit in more Double Gust, but it's an option that I'll leave up to you. As for alternate Pokemon options, Clair doesn't give us a whole lot to work with here. The available Dragonairs from Expedition and Neo Destiny aren't really options here. They're not great as support, nor are they good at attacking. They're really just means to get to the Dragonite that they would be evolving into. But even if we wanted to stretch Clair's party to the point of including Dragonite, I still don't really feel that any of them would fit. Genesis Kingdra is a pretty solid option for a swap in, not only because it can attack on turn 3 when you evolve into Kingdra, unlike the one we are using from E-Card, but it also has a 50 damage 4 energy attack that has its own gusting effect, and this Kingdra is an underplayed card that would appreciate a little bit of spotlight for those willing to oblige. Neo Revelation Kingdra is another solid choice just because it has both low energy and high energy options. It's mainly played with the Mud Splash Seadra, and you just attach the 1 energy and use Genetic Memory to do Mud Splash over and over and over again, but that's already an archetype. This card already sees a ton of spotlight and play, that's why it wasn't included, but again, another solid option to use if you so choose. Crystal Kingdra, you get out of here! You get! Nobody wants to play with you! Though Clair does have a respectably cool team in Stadium 2, I wouldn't really say that any of these are on theme except for the Gyarados, which we already included in the main deck list. There are other Gyarados, if you will. Mainly talking Legendary Collection Gyarados here just because it's an amazing card. 100 HP on stage 1, 50 damage for 3 energy. But again, remember that one of the major points of this theme deck format is to show a little bit of love to cards that never really got played, and this card has been played into the ground and back. I love it though, probably my favorite card from base set. That is the Clair deck, and it is also the end of the Johto Gym Leader theme decks. But do not grieve, dear viewer. You know that I'm not going to leave it there. The Elite Four are getting their own theme decks. Plus more, we're going all summer long with these theme decks. Down in those comments, let me know what you're thinking of the series so far. Let me know which Gym Leader deck has been your favorite so far, and what trainers are you looking forward to most to get the spotlight later this summer. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned to the channel for not only more theme decks, but just more Pokemon TCG content in general. Social media links are in the description. I will see you guys next video.